Oh, I did have it on. I was like, wait a minute, did I leave my mic on? Did I not leave it on? What's going on, guys? It is iSlyCoop88, also known as Steve, and
let's give him a little respite.
And well, gonna run a couple of relic hunts here in Chaos Bane. I actually had to rage quit this game a month or two ago because I didn't realize this, but
I need more time.
Deadly save glitch that somehow I became the victim of. And what it is basically, for some odd reason, the game will sometimes weirdly glitch out to the point that your first save file will apparently, well, not just your first, but basically any of your save files can become corrupted. And go figure, it had to be my first save file. Had to be my first save file that had Braggy Axe Fighter here on it. And the worst part is, this corruption came right as I was getting like the last two remaining gear sets, like completing his last two remaining gear sets, because each character in this game has 4 gear sets. So it's like, it was basically, I got kicked in the balls, basically. Like, I was like, oh, I'm getting all the in-game content, all this stuff, and all of a sudden the game's like, oh yeah, by the way, your save glitched out, so you're gonna have to play numerous hours to try to force us to save all of your crap, basically. I was not happy. Still not happy, but I think what I want to do is I may try to circumvent the system. Like, until they announce that there's going to be, like, actually 8 characters, because you can have up to, like, 8 characters in a slot. So I was like, okay, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, so pretty much you got 4 characters. So unless the team at Chaos Bane decides that they want to add specifically 8 characters to this game, I may just dedicate a save file to creating a backup Braggy, try to attempt to force the game to acknowledge that I put stuff in the loot chest, and try to circumvent the system by basically having all of the gear that I have currently for all my versions of Braggy. Because apparently they did like massive updates to this game. Because when I first started, which was about the birthing of like the console version here, they didn't have all this. And they've pretty much added a whole bunch of stuff. And I'll run this through for all the Diablo-esque fans and the people that love to see this stuff. But now they added like a 4-tiered gear set, because you have 4 legendary like gear sets in this game. What I'm currently using is the Avenger set for Braggy, which, you know, it's one of the cooler sets. I especially like the little, like, you know, skull hanging off of his beard, and, you know, the black muddy makeup and silvery runes and stuff like that. But every legendary gear set has different benefits. Avenger here is basically bleeding enemies are slowed and they take more damage, and the Deep Gashes skill, which is right here, basically they take more damage, damage over time is increased on raw damage, and each attack has the chance to stun them. This is handy, for obvious reasons. So I've been mainly trying to play through this character. Every character basically has 4 gear sets. Like 4 like heroic or legendary gear sets. Avenger is just 1 for Braggy. His other 2 are Herald of Grimmar, which is one of my absolute favorites, and definitely a fan favorite among people that are still playing this game. Because you essentially, all of your fire skills get Braggy. do pretty much double if not triple damage. Plus you have a fiery aura, so you basically are doing constant fire damage, which is insane. Like, the level of insanity with that is, like, ridiculous. Then you got Undefeatable, which basically doubles a lot of Ragnar's damage for all of his rage-based abilities. Because rage is his little... Oh, I'm trying to think of what it is. It's basically his resource. There we go. Rage is, you know, essentially his resource. So any skills that utilize rage are going to have double, if not triple damage. I think it's double. But, yeah, they, and then the last one, probably my least favorite and a lot of people's, is the champion of, oh, how is it pronounced? Hulkak? It's a tongue twister. It's a tongue twister name. But basically, they, let's grab all this. Basically a tongue twister of a name, but it's not a very popular outfit, and rightfully so. Its benefits, it has interesting benefits, but it's not practical to me, at least for the way that I play. Like, the Avenger here and Herald of Grimmar are probably my two favorites, just because, like, I'm very much a DPS kind of guy. You know, I don't mind playing kind of Berserker style every once in a while, but I'm not a high-risk, high-reward gamer by much. I'm essentially a very casual gamer in the fact that I love just going in there and just destroying everyone. As you can tell, barely any of these mobs are touching me, and that is because I'm playing on Chaos 1. And I'm only like, ooh, wait, what was this? Probably not a gear piece that I need. Clearly not. Granite Ring. All damage dealt is reduced, but damage taken is reduced. Damage over time is increased for a few seconds after using the plate. Okay. Cool. But yeah, other than that weird, like, save glitch problem that they're still trying to recommend, which, by the way, their recommendation is just that you essentially USB drive your entire save data for the game and then just delete your entire cache for the game, which, to me, I understand why, because it's mainly a software issue, but it's like, come on, a lot of people spend hours playing this game. Like, don't make people, even if it's a USB backup, it's still the principle that you're making people...
No! I need more time!
It's still the principle that you're basically making people delete their saves and then reinstalling their saves just to... Where is it? Oh, Pendant of the Rebel. Potion grants less health but recharges faster. Well, that doesn't help me much. It's a whole thing. It's a whole movie. I finally realized how to properly utilize that ability correctly. Because I thought it was just a move and strain move, but no, you can still do stuff while you have it. So it's been fun to basically just whip out that Grimmar's Wrath. I think that's called Grimmar's Wrath. What is this? Blood of the Mountain. And you got Mountain's Wrath. Which, that's another thing. Let me show this to you. Because, like, The skills very much are very reminiscent of Diablo. You have to have basically skill points in order to build your characters. But in the case of Bragi, you know, this is essentially a lot of his power skills. Like, you got basic ones like these three that they gain you energy. They basically rebuild your rage. But they also can be advanced to deal more damage, and then the more advanced skills are what utilize rage and have cooldowns, etc. And then you got God skills. God skills probably are like the super mecha attacks. And you get them throughout the skill tree. Now, these two are actually the original skill tree. This is the skill tree that you start with in the game. This is for the secondary God tree DLC, which is about like $2.99 or so. You know, it's not, at least $2.99 US. I can't deliberate on other currencies around the globe, but it's basically like $3. And every character has an archetype. With Bragi's, it's Chained Axe. It's basically, you've seen me use, it's just, he throws an axe. It's basically a locomotion move. It's meant to pull you forward. Journal. Now here we go, the God skill tree. Now see, this is the original shape of an axe. And then you see the picture of Grimmar, the dwarven god that Bragi represents. Now the second one is supposed to be like the face of Grimmar, and you can see that there's a lot of areas for customization. Now, if you're wanting to play this game, there are no costs to reset. Originally, you lost gems, you had to vacate certain things, like it got very costly. Well, Big Ben didn't want people that wanted to constantly respec and try out new builds to feel like they were being punished, so now you can actually reset your skill tree, you know, free of charge, and you can build your characters however you want. This is just to basically kind of keep people interested in the game, and they've also admitted that, you know, they're still trying to constantly work out a lot of the kinks. So they're essentially doing like an apologist kind of move with this, which I gotta give them credit. It's not a bad idea, because when you give people stuff that they can sink their teeth into, and they feel like, okay, you know, they're really trying, you know, people love that. People love when you kind of show them appreciation. I'm not saying bow to their every whim, but I'm saying it helps. I personally have no problem. The only problem I have is the save software glitch, and even then that's just kind of a freak out thing. You know, those things happen. I don't like them, but I understand that they can happen in games sometimes. Whew. And one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people love playing as Bragi as a melee character as opposed to Captain Conrad Volin, or Captain Volin, or, you know, Conrad, whichever designation you want to use. Well, the reason why a lot of people love playing as Bragi more is not just because he's a berserker type character, but also mainly those throwing axes. Those throwing axes are why a lot of people love playing as him, because let's be honest, even though Bragi's meant to be played as a melee character, you know, you kind of want some abilities that are going to basically help you with ranged enemies, and especially his throwing axe abilities actually, to me, are a lot faster than his regular hack and slash moves. Now, the biggest thing about relic hunts that I want to explain to you guys, because these are basically Chaos Bane's versions of the rifts from... If I can slow down and actually speak proper English. These are basically like the rifts in Diablo. They basically just function to get you better gear, higher tier stuff, and there's 3 low, and much like the greater rifts,
I need more time!
Much like the greater rifts, there is a level cap to them. There is the regular, there is the master, or no, what was this? I guess I'll have to go back and show you when I get to the HUD. When I get to the HUD, I'll show you guys like how this works. Because it's not very difficult. It sounds like it's overwhelming and there's a lot. There really isn't.
Let's give them a little respite.
It's actually so simple it's laughable. That's why a lot of people call this Diablo Light.
Let's give him a little respite!
I also like Braggy. Also, a lot of people love Braggy because, unlike a lot of the cast, he has some actual personality. It's kind of ironic that the best voice character is one of the more OP and probably the better characters. I'd say out of the 4 of them.
So,
if you're
I
looking
need
for
more
like
time.
a fairly tanky class, I definitely can recommend Captain Nolan. He's built to a certain degree to be like that, to be that tanky character, but he's a standard melee character. Like, there's nothing really special about him that sticks out. I mean, some of his God Tree skills, like his Sigmar-based God Tree skills, are amazing. But you gotta remember, this is a tanky melee character. As a coworker of mine put, if we're basing mythology, if we're using like Greek mythology as a template, Braggy is Ares, Alyssa, the Wood Elf, is Artemis, Elantyr is essentially Zeus. You'll find out why. You'll find out why if I continue to the next time ever I stream this game again. Because I don't hate this game. I don't genuinely hate it. Like, this and Diablo are fun. They're good stress relievers. I'm just angry about the whole corrupted save thing because now I'm deliberating, and I'll probably end up doing it, using one of the extra character slots to create an uncorrupted Braggy that I can just keep. But my thing about that, and I'll have to look it up later, is if I do that and I get rid of corrupted Braggy, is that going to all of a sudden make my Elantyr or Alyssa become corrupted? Because I don't want that. Not that I won't have all the gear sets, but I'm just saying that's going to suck if they add more gear sets and I have to basically keep fighting and playing to be able to get the character to keep their stuff. Because I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of it at all. Matter of fact, it kind of ticks me off a little bit. I'm sure a lot of y'all are probably screaming like, why don't you put the mini-map down? I don't want to. Believe it or not, keeping the mini-map up actually does help. As weird as that sounds, it helps. Dang. Cause see, the reason why I put, especially in the title, you know, let's hope I get that last tier piece, is I'm hoping to keep it. Because I've pretty much tricked the game, or at least tricked my corrupted save into saving all of Braggy's stuff. The only thing I don't have is the gloves for the undefeated set. That's like the last set I need to max out for Braggy in order to have all of his stuff. And I know what a lot of y'all are going to say, well, Steve, it's just a gear piece, you know, why is that important? Yeah, but it's the completionist in me. I don't like that, you know, this game is essentially preventing me from having, like, you know, full sets. It kind of bothers me, if you can't tell. But that's okay, I don't expect the game to hold my hand. I really don't. Now there's many different if I can speak English. Now there's different hub areas. This is Nuln. N-U-L... Oh, wait, hang on. Let me go to the warp stone here and make sure I'm spelling the name correctly. N-U-L-N. Okay, there we go. And this is where you start the game off at. Also, a nice little aesthetic is that each of the characters' worship shrines are here. So, like, Alyssa's is right here by this giant tree. Conrad's is right here with the Sigmar hammer. Elentier's is over here. I forget the name of the high elf god. And then a statue of Grimmar for Braggy. And at first I thought, oh, you'll make tributes to these statues, but no, they're just there for aesthetic. They have no purpose. Oh, there we go. Kaze... Kak? I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway. Yeah, look at this. Not my favorite outfit, but basically what this armor set does is it says, using a skill that consumes energy increases damage dealt by all players. Using a skill with a cooldown heals all players. And using a god skill grants all players immunity to control effects. So basically, this character is meant to be more of a support character. Which is fine, I don't mind that. Here's probably my favorite. Grimmar's Herald. This is everybody's favorite for Braggy. Also, by the way, there are higher tiered sets, which is the green sets. Because you got red. Red is like the heroic, and that's kind of like, you know, the basic set. But then you got green. Green is essentially the higher tiered, like, gear, and it's like the rarest of all of them. So, like, getting a piece of green gear is like, it's a godsend, because if you're going for, like, the higher difficulties, you're going to need sets upon sets of these gears. But everybody likes this one, and I like that it's like molten lava's going through his veins. I think that that's such a cool effect. I already showed you Avenger. Now see, this is the one I need the last gear set for it, and the arms are not correct. I'm waiting for the moment that drops and I can actually keep it. But with Undefeated, I like the look of Undefeated because he's got like runic symbols. I do have a green chest piece, but I like the look of like runes all throughout his body. Let me go back to what I was talking about, the Grimoire's Herald. I'm sitting here, I'm nerding out and I'm not paying attention. Grants a fire aura that deals more damage the lower the player's health. All damage from fire skills are increased. Now, basically you do more damage the more enemies knock out your health, which some people like, some people don't. It's a high risk, high reward style. Now, Undefeated, rage bonus damages are increased. Like I said, doubles them. Hey, Clanders. I can't quite hear. Now my audio stuff seems fine. Now volume for my TV is good as well. I don't know what to tell you on that one. That's kind of perplexing. Damage. Ooh, performing a critical hit has a chance. Oh, wait. Never mind. Granite ring damage over time increases after a few seconds using. That's weapon. That's actually kind of messed up. Well, isn't this just special? Don't mind me, guys. I'm trying to properly gear my characters out. I'm in the zone right now. Okay. We'll keep with the Avenger set. Regardless, how are you doing? Doing really well. I'm enjoying my second week of vacation, although it's going by far faster than I really would want. But such is the nature of the beast. You know, whenever you're on break, time passes by a lot quicker than you want it to. When you're at work, it goes by slow as hell. I don't make this stuff up, I observe the trends. But anyway, guys, let me do another round here. I didn't even get to explain the relic hunts, like I was so into my own little world there. Because like I said, this game is Diablo Light, but not in a bad way. It has a certain uniqueness to it. Oh, for a second there I was like, wait a minute, did I already got my set on? Get out of here. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Now they're trying to make it a challenge. Still nothing to win though. He says as he probably is going to end up going to the next area and getting completely smacked down. What you've heard about Papa. You know, I keep hearing about that, and me and Lewis I've been hearing about that a lot in the news. What is that supposed to be like an anti-privacy act or something where like basically you can't film people anymore for social media or like for purposes. I don't know. I've only heard it vaguely. But to hear people describe it, it's basically you can't say or do anything against anybody anymore. That if a couple's having an argument and the man's being abusive towards his wife, you can't step in or something like that. Like some kind of nonsense like that. Which I kind of looked at it, if that's kind of eerily close to the nail on the head, then that's bad. That's very bad, because, and I'll be the first to say it, not just for Clanders, but for anybody else who views this video later, I am very much of the stance that if people are doing amoral stuff, they need to be called out for it. But I also understand that there needs to be some diligence and tact put into place for it. But I'm very much the kind of person, especially when it comes to the teenagers, that, I'm sorry, teenagers need to be embarrassed, but I also understand that, you know, parents and adults go too far with it too, which is why I think that this probably was why this act got approved. Because too many people were basically trying to shame people for the purpose of attention and feeling good on the internet, and you know, a bunch of people that are essentially sad sacks, you know, like doing some very shady or irreprehensible stuff that, you know, let's be honest, we all have moments where we get angry and we want to expose people. I'm more than guilty of that myself, but there is a fine line that needs to be walked with that. I'm just saying, if you're going to shame people, you have to open up to the fact that you yourself are going to become exposed. I don't know, I'm babbling on. Y'all aren't here to hear my political opinions and all that stuff, but I'm just going to throw it out there all the same. It's stupid. The world's becoming stupid. Maybe you were able to. No, I mean, you don't necessarily have to explain it if you don't feel confident that you can. I'll probably end up looking it up for myself because I've been hearing people talk about it non-stop. But like a lot of things in the world and a lot of different policies or trends, I also kind of don't want to look it up because I have a feeling that I'm going to lose brain cells. There's been a lot of stupid policies and a lot of chain jerking, shall we say, with society. I I don't know. I can't understand a lot of this stuff anymore. I really can't. Like, I can't really fathom why people think that it's a good idea to start, I guess you could say, censoring the right for people to be taught morals, but I also kind of understand the reason why as well. Because, you know, it's kind of like revenge porn. You know, it's kind of like the whole revenge porn thing. Like, you know, you have an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that, you know, you don't like, and you try to get revenge by, you know, posting intimate stuff that they say or do. And it's like, yeah, it's like stuff like that. You gotta kind of... It's okay to be angry with somebody, but it's not okay to basically try and purposely record them for the essence of ruining their lives out of pettiness. There we go. I was trying to think of a way to word that without, you know, sounding like I'm being a complete a-hole about it. Oh, I was just saying, if you don't feel confident about it, you don't need to actually explain it. I'll probably look it up myself later on, but I had a feeling that I would lose brain cells if I tried to read what the latest censorship for society on a global scale is going to be like. And I was explaining and I was saying as well that it's ridiculous. Like, I understand it. I really, truly understand, like, the reason why laws like that need to be put in place, but I think people need to be a little more tactful in how they approach it as well. Because a lot of people, really, let's be honest, need to be called out for certain things that they do, especially out in public. Latest debate that sparked that was a guy in Australia that basically was calling some kids out on the train, you know, on a train because they were bullying people, you know, and cussing at kids and stuff like that. Like, look, I'm not saying that we all shouldn't be adults and we all shouldn't be allowed to do adult things. That's not what I'm trying to get at. But I'm saying when you're out in public, there is a certain, shall we say, sensitive forum that I think we all need to follow. And I'm not seeing it. I'm really not. And it actually kind of angers me. Because, you know, I admit, I cuss like a sailor. And I admit I don't have the most colorful language in the world, but, you know, there's a certain way to carry yourself and there's a certain way not to. And I feel like a lot of people, because the world has become so sensitive and everybody needs to feel safe, you know, here's my thought. What about when people like me growing up needed an actual safe space? And I don't mean like, you know, oh, people are saying, you know, mean things to me on Twitter. No, I mean, you know, when people would kick the crap out of me every day after school. When I had a, you know, where was my safe space when I had a father that basically, you know, treated me and my mother like crap. You know, if you're going to put a blanket over stuff, do it fully. Don't just do it for one side. I know that that's getting a little personal, but still, I get tired of hearing people talk about how, you know, they need a place to feel like they're safe. Well, you know what? I hate to tell you, but the world's not going to be safe. It's just not. It's a dark, gritty world that we live in. Welcome to reality. I'm sure a lot of y'all are going to have a problem with that, but, you know, at the same time, I don't care. I'm going to stay true to myself. Well, CAPA stands for Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and it's supposed to protect children and make sure people don't collect online Huh. So, question mark, it's supposed to basically be close to what I'm saying. Oh, by the way, before I forget, guys, come up in here. This is where the stash is. As you can see, I have a lot of stuff. A lot of useless weapons that I probably need to start scramming out now. Here would be one of the many starting points. Now, the main quest is done. And of course you got invasions, which is an in-game kind of thing. It's like a challenge tiered thing that will open up, you know, more upgrades in the skill menu and all that stuff, and it's meant to be kind of a challenge mode. Expedition is just basically kind of like adventure mode. You can just run around, do whatever. Maybe there will be some objectives and stuff. Boss rush is pretty self-explanatory. Anything with the words cool, whatever, free stuff, fun, etc., and things like colorful imagery, animated characters are all for kids. So by the... Oh, why do I have a feeling that I know where you're going with this? Hey Steve, hope you are fine. Hey Lewis, yeah, I'm good. I am very good, actually. Now here's the trading part for the gems. You can trade your gems for other gems. You saw me use this. There is no like in-game currency thing. You have to collect all your gold throughout stuff. But what the donations thing does is, as the vendors' reputations go up, they can give you gold. They can give you gems. For the first couple of levels, they'll give you like extra benefit stuff for your skill sets, which actually go over here. And you have passive skills. So let me go over these. Every character has a set of passive skills, and then they have secondary passive skills, as well as god abilities that give them passives. And then you got the Collector's Guild, which is what that donational thing is, and where I get the relic hunts. Now, I've already filled it all out, but you know, they'll give you rewards for stuff. Stronger potions, this comes from Invasion, this comes from Invasion, so yeah, you got a lot of stuff, in other words. Now, Relic Hunt is broken down into Lessers, Greaters, and Grands. Grands have a 900 loot quality, but they will give you a Lesser modifier, a Greater modifier, and a Grand modifier. Basically, in other words, it's a tiered difficulty. Grand being the hardest, but giving you more rewarding loot. Greater, it's whatever. And then you got Lesser. Now, depending on your difficulty, it's going to double the difficulty, but it's also going to double the rewards. So it feels more like a high-risk, high-reward thing. I've been doing Lessers because they're the easiest. They only give you one modifier, and it's just easier to run for some characters. Yeah, that, I don't get that. So if a child accidentally stumbles onto my channel, hears me swearing, saying all this stuff, automatically I'm getting hit with a copyright strike because that child... Yeah, that, Yep, that definitely killed some brain cells in my head, because how do people think that this is a good idea? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I had to switch to my dashboard on my PlayStation. I got a notification, and it was just letting me know that game I was downloading was ready to play. Also, right next to the level thing, you have Prestige, you have Paragon or Prestige in Diablo. In this one, it's called Legend. And I will actually, let me pop to that menu real quick to show you guys. You can see you got Legendary rank, and this is essentially what. Holy crap! I need to actually put some points into these. I didn't realize I had that many. But yeah, as you level up, you got different abilities, legendary-based abilities. Okay, time for some throwing matches. There we go. Yeah, I never understood why this is. I mean, I can kind of understand the yes and the no of it, but really. The way I look at it, you know, people that are pedophiles would probably find other means than making a YouTube channel to get kids to grip and abduct kids. I'm just saying. Although then again, it's not out of the realm of impossibility either. I don't know. I don't necessarily bury my head in the sand, but I'm also not so naive that I sit around and think about this stuff all day. I got a life to lead. But there is talk of adding a general audience feature, so some of the backlash has led to more reasonable features, it seems. Still, I say, I don't know if you're writing one sentences or if you're getting cut off, but I cannot read half of the stuff that is actually posted into the chat. Honestly, probably a lot more than is necessary. I don't know. Time will tell, and I imagine with all the backlash people are giving towards it, that they're going to amend it somehow. I mean, you can't introduce something like that and not amend it afterwards. Quit moving around. Anyway, as I was saying, guys, before I got sidetracked talking about this stuff, that is important.
Crush them all!
I'm not going to say that it's not important, because it is. You know, there's a lot of backlash lately where apparently a lot of lawmakers in different countries are trying to take over the internet and monopolize it, which to me, you're already lifting up as politicians. You know, billionaires, etc. Stop trying to copyright something that you have no right to.
Let's give them a little respite.
But that's just... What do I know? Yeah, we are, Anyway, guys, yeah, I'm looking forward to, you know, looking forward to Christmas, looking forward to all the stuff that Christmas brings, and really, you know, just taking time for myself. You know, that's kind of what led to that, got to go. Okay, see ya, Clanders. Appreciate you stopping by. I really do. I always appreciate when him and Lewis stop by. I appreciate it when any of you guys stop by. Even though I don't exactly sound enthusiastic, trust me, I am.
No, I need more time.
I'm one of those people, I'm not very comfortable with liking how I sound, but I'm getting used to it. It's just a matter of inflection. Also, I'm probably still a little tired because I was up later than I should have been last night. But I was having fun playing Days Gone and a bunch of other games. Plus, I was waiting for a couple of other games to download as well. Ooh. 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 Okay, never mind. Can I? There we go. But can I move forward? I could say that is just really satisfying to me. Like, just to see them group around me and then just, like, multi-kill. Yeah, long hiatus, long break. I remember people talking about that, and I just, my heart weeps for the man who makes billions more than all the Wall Street yuppies in New York. Oh, it's so tragic. Trust me, I've never been impressed by Pee Wee DD. I probably never will be. And I got the same... Where were all of these drops for Grimoire's Herald when I needed them like a month, maybe 2 months ago, before my save for this character got corrupted? Where were they at? I really would like to know. This game's drop system is quite inconsistent. It's giving me everything but the one thing that I want. Welcome to Grinding with Steve. We not only grind coffee beans, but we grind throughout this entire game till our eyeballs bleed. Also, by the way, no offense to anybody that likes instant coffee, but how can y'all drink that stuff? It is so bitter. Like, I had to put a crap ton of creamer just so I didn't have that burnt almond taste in my mouth. That's what instant coffee tastes like to me. It tastes like burnt almonds. It's very unpleasant. But I also didn't want to run through all the K-cups either. In retrospect, I probably should have bought those K-cups that were on sale at the little mini shop down there yesterday.
Just another second, and I'll crush them all!
I don't know. I'm rambling about stuff that y'all don't care about. Like, who really cares what kind of coffee I really drink anyway? But I'm just saying, I don't much care for this. Nothing in there. Whoop. Speed this up a little bit. Oh, now everybody wants to start coming out of the woodwork. Still not going to help. Okay. Wait, is it noontime or is it 10:30? Yeah, let me pause this for a second. Good grief, it is 12:30. They are running late today. That's a new record. Hey, Steven started playing Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishment a few months ago and finished it yesterday. It was a great game. I love Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishment. I like Devil's Daughter as well, the sequel. Devil's Daughter was actually a surprisingly really good and emotional storyline at the end. Come to think of it, I don't think that there's not one PC or console-like game from the 2000s with Sherlock Holmes that I have not played and beaten. And I've even played, the Windows 95-esque looking ones. Especially like Sherlock Holmes, they did a proper Sherlock Holmes versus Arsene Lupin game, and that was actually pretty good. So was the Call of Cthulhu one. What's a Sherlock Holmes versus Cthulhu? I forget what it was pronounced. I'd have to look it up later. That one was actually really good. That was a PC game though, sadly, but that was really good. Very creepy, very dark and creepy. It was Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. That was another good one. The Testament of Sherlock Holmes, which I think was like Xbox only. There were a lot of good Sherlock Holmes games. A lot of people ask me that too. They're like, man, you really love Sherlock Holmes. I don't know. The character just speaks to me. Plus, most people think that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle created the character low-key to be like a representative of people with Asperger's. At least that's the theory. Some people even believe that Conan Doyle himself may have been an Aspie, but people couldn't diagnose it back then, so he was just considered odd and eccentric. Some people believe that Lovecraft may have been autistic too. Then again, you know how that stuff kind of goes too. People like to put labels on things that they shouldn't. But I don't know. I like to think that to a certain extent Holmes was created to represent, somebody who was on the spectrum. Because, I mean, even though he was an eccentric character, but Holmes, to a certain degree himself, just showed a lot of traits that seemed very prevalent to people that were on the spectrum. At least the more I read into it, the more I read into, like, Holmes's characteristics and personalities in the stories. Of course, some say Holmes was just OCD, but I don't know. That's a stretch. There's been a lot of different opinions on the character. Ah, crap. Still nothing. Ooh. Ow. I don't know, I may soon switch out of like this RPG phase and try to go for more story-based games, because I have a lot of games like Tacoma and Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain and stuff that I need to jump back into, and I kind of really want to play Detroit Become Human. Like, I want to play these interactive, like almost narrative story events. But I just never find the time for them. And I need to. We'll do a grand relic map so you guys can see like how ridiculous this can get. And what I may do is I may switch it up a little bit. I may switch to another character. So what do we got for this one? Pools of blood appear regularly. Demonic portals appear regularly. Oh, come on. They had to give me the trifecta from hell.
What a sweet death.
I didn't even stand a chance on that one. Are you kidding me? See, this is what this is why I don't always do like the grand maps, especially with like whichever version of Braggy I use, because sometimes they will literally stack one bad modifier on top of the other and just completely give you no chance to win. Like, first I'd have portals underneath me, then I'd have enemies randomly popping up, and then I'd be constantly needing to be healed. Like, that's just nasty. That's just unfair. The game's wrong for that. reset that. Okay, this one seems more doable. The game knew I was going to do that on the game did that on purpose, I feel, just to show it's like, oh yeah, you know, we're taking it easy. Wah, just slam me back down onto the ground. Oh. You know, I kind of wish I could stream Persona 5, but apparently they still got that dumb, like, inlet thing where you can't, like, stream the game at all. And I find that rather bothersome. Like, I could understand they disabled streaming, like, for when...
Let's give him a little respite!
Like, I could understand they disabled the streaming when the game had first come out, but it's like, it's been out for about 2 years or so now. You can kind of disable it. People pretty much know the story by now. But what do I know? Same thing could be said for Tales of Berseria. I don't mind when game companies do that. Like they want to avoid story spoilers and stuff. That doesn't bother me. But do it in a way that works. Like Catherine Full Body. Catherine Full Body I can understand. Like that doesn't bother me. But it's when you censor the entirety of the game. And maybe people want to actually watch somebody else play it. I'm just saying, I understand why developers do that stuff, but it's like it's becoming tedious. Ooh, big army! And now they're all dead. I don't know, what do I know? Not like I make games for a living. But it is, it gets annoying because like sometimes you want to show people how cool a game is and you can't do that. You can't even take screenshots. And I think Atlas learned that. When a lot of people were like, okay, you know, the time has passed, you know, like why is this game still got stream disables? I made the joke to a couple of buddies the other night. I'm like, the game, I guess, is so epic that they don't want even any part of it, even stuff that has nothing to do with the main story, to be spoiled. Like, we all just laughed at that. We thought it was absurd. Don't get me wrong, I love Persona 5, and I'm curious with Persona 4 if they're gonna do any kind of remaster or port Golden, which is the Ultimate Edition and the edition that people want, into the PS4, which I say, and I agree with somebody, why not put the special editions of Persona 3 and Persona 4 in one package? Like that would help people a lot. Because see, like I've been watching videos and I've been doing all this stuff, and I've been relatively enjoying kind of getting into Persona to a certain degree. I mean, even that's why I got Morgana, you know, as my profile pick and my background theme playing boot my PS4 up. I also can't wait for Royale to come out. That's gonna be fun next year. What did I get? Of course! Of course I get everything but what I'm looking for. Why? Why does this game do this to me? Stop it! You had me excited. I thought I got the undefeated set again. See, that gravy train ain't leaving. Not quite yet. Where is it? Where's the altar? I gotta destroy the altar. There is the altar. Get out of my way, bro.
What? Let's give them a little respite.
You made a valiant effort. However, you still suck. Okay, no heroic. I would have thought I would have got a heroic piece with that. That kind of actually irritates me a little bit. Like, if there was ever a time I should have got a heroic piece, it was right there. Nope, never mind. I rescind my statement. Ooh. What is this? Ooh. But wait, that says 21. Ooh, I got a green pendant. I'm gonna hold on to that one. I don't care if I never use it. Any green piece I get, I'm holding on to. I felt the times in my life this feeling. That was the point. I really don't like feeling that way, but I do. But I know I can't help it. Yeah, you know, the unfortunate part is, Lewis, we all get that way. I've been trying to fight with that feeling for quite a while now. It's hard. It's really hard when, you know, life essentially keeps hitting you with bad thing after bad thing after bad thing, and you're just like, when is it going to ever end? Kind of gets annoying after a while. Because you're like, okay, surely I gotta have good luck eventually, right?
Let's give them a little respite.
Oh yeah. Everybody's going down. Somebody might want to call 911 or the Bobbies. I think that we have a massacre on our hands. Ooh, found that. Ew. Holy crap, I have. That is a lot of gold. That is a lot of gold items. Whee! Oh, they crumple like they're made of tissue paper. I'm just waiting for the moment when eventually all this trash talk just completely turns against me. I'm not even going to be surprised. I'm just going to be like, well, I probably should have known better. There we go. Another one down. Bruised ego. I'll hold on to that for now. Whee! Okay. Oh, they died. They are very dead. They are super dead. Well, okay, that didn't bear any fruit. Moving on. Okay, now for the boring part of taking a couple of seconds to locomotion my way over here. Hey friend, bye friend. Okay. Somehow I have a feeling I'm not going to run into that gear piece ever again. Ooh, ow, ow, ow. Ugh. Ooh, I think I felt my hip pop on that one. Ugh. Oh, remember kids, always stretch. Might end up a miserable old fart like me. Well, I feel I have done my tasks for the day. Knowing my luck, it's probably going to save either with that gear. It's the game you're playing Medieval. No, this is Warhammer Chaos Bane. It's pretty much Warhammer's version of Diablo, set in the old world, which is kind of their dark gothic fantasy universe. It's very Diablo-esque, but unfortunately, as I explained at the beginning of the video / stream, my first character file here, which is Braggy Axe Spider, the Berserker Dwarf, apparently I've been having trouble with, like, for some odd reason, there's some kind of, like, freaky glitch. It doesn't happen all too often, but, sometimes your save file doesn't necessarily become corrupted, but, like, certain bits of data will not always save over, and it gets kind of annoying. And I'm worried that if I, like, delete Braggy and create a new version, that Alyssa here, the Wood Elf, is going to become the next victim. of said save, and I don't want that. But you got 4 characters. The 5th one should be coming sometime next year. You got Braggy Axebiter, who is a Berserker Dwarf, or a Slayer as they call it. Pretty much, you know, melee, fire damage, and just all around just an insane character. As I said before, if you were to compare Greek mythology characters, Braggy is pretty much Ares. This man lives to fight, this man can fight, and he will kill everything in his path. And then laugh and get mad when they don't try to purposely kill him. You have Alyssa, the Wood Elf, or the Aserai, as they're called in this universe. And she's pretty much a recon scout, probably the squishiest of all the characters. She's very much meant to be ranged. But she's probably the coolest, and I'll show you why. For those of y'all that are still continuing to watch this, I'm going to walk through for some of y'all how these characters work. Because they're fun. Now, like I said, every character has 4 gear sets. Every character's got 4 different gear sets, which is why there's 4 different character slots. It's meant to be for customization. For Alyssa, there's the Eternity Protector, or Protectress, I should say, which probably my least favorite, but the one that I play probably the most. And this is for people who love setting traps or setting stuff for enemies to walk over. Traps deal more damage to poisoned enemies or enemies suffering from poison damage. The Ambush Specialist passive is... Yeah. That was unpleasant. But the where is it? Oh yeah. Ambush Specialist. So like sometimes you'll get passive or like actual skills that'll cost 0 skill points. And these are just because they are boosted and free with the ability. So like Ambush Specialist, you know, clearly it marks that it's heroic. It says traps deal more damage and performing a roll leaves a trap behind. And the maximum numbers of each trap are increased. So in other words, when I roll forward, I leave little traps on the ground, which is very handy. Very handy armor set. And Alyssa herself probably has the coolest of like all the ranged abilities. Like a lot of people love playing as Alyssa because not only because you can do a Trap Master build and a Minion Master with her Dryads, but also her bow skills are very good for crowd control. Like the one that I have, like the ability that I have here, which is Sure Flight Arrow, which is the mastered ability, this basically can ricochet between multiple enemies, even the same enemies. It's insane, and a lot of poison abilities, throwing daggers. Master Archer just basically gives her a... I guess you could say it's a... What's the word I'm looking for? A stream of arrows, so it's like a machine gun kind of ability. Got spread shots, got spinning blades, got piercing projectiles. Now let me show you all the Dryads. And of course, you know, you got the traps.
I need more time.
Now let me show you the Dryads. There's our, hang on, what is this? this.
Oh, I need to prepare myself for that.
Claw and kill.
Now, as you go on, to me, Alyssa reminds me of the Witch Doctor from Diablo. Like, as you kill enemies, you got a buff where you can basically bring an additional Dryad. And then you got a large Dryad that follows you around, and just a regular Dryad. I got regular just because it's Eternity Protectress. And she's mainly the Trap Master type build. Now, probably one of my favorites is Queen's Chosen. A lot of people love using this. And basically, any poison skills that you use deal more damage, and you also have a toxic aura that poisons enemies near you. And your spinning blades ability is basically...
Oh, I need more time.
So see, you got a spinning blade that pretty much ricochets off everything. And it's poisoned, and it passes through enemies and rebounds off walls. I cannot wait for Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. Like, I need to get my pre-order in. Probably the beginning of next year is when I need to start putting in my pre-order for not only that, but I want to put in a pre-order for Persona 5 Royale when that comes out as well. And maybe Last of Us 2. I'm still debating on Last of Us 2. So yeah, I showed the Dryads, I showed this, I showed all the other ones. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Wish I could zoom in here, but yeah, as you upgrade your Dryads, they like this one's poison, and of course you got the toxic aura. But let me actually show you that. Look at this armor piece. Like, look at the armor itself. Like, I like this. I like the way that looks. It kind of reminds me of the Predator in a weird kind of way. And of course, you know, like I said, green gear. Green gear is the rarest, so like, it looks offsetting compared to the rest of the armor, because it's supposed to be like an autumn kind of look to it. But this is the Deadly Glow. Summoned creatures deal more damage and an additional familiar is summoned. This is especially useful if you have the familiar ability that allows you to, where is it? Guardian Spirit. This is especially useful with Guardian Spirit because Guardian Spirit puts a small circle of healing. Having two familiars, double the space. What the? Where is... Oh, there it is. I wonder why that did that. Summons a Dryad that attacks enemies and has a chance to... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, I gotta try this.
Claw and kill.
Ooh, I think See, I like the look of this armor. You can't tell because she's got her head turned, but there are like glowing eyes in that thing. Also kind of very Predator-esque. And then there is the Guardian of Aranik, I would think is how you pronounce that. Dealing physical damage with skills has a chance to create persistent brambles on the ground. So basically you have like snap vines or, you know, brambles that basically have a chance of appearing on the ground. And, yep, barred brambles, hungry roots. Oop, wrong one. See, that's it's not bad. Not a bad armor set. But yeah, Alyssa is meant to be played as a very much a ranged character, and her dryads are supposed to be like, you know, the minions that basically keep enemies at bay. Which is fine. It's a fine build. I don't mind it. I like the way it plays out. Is it has a lot of interesting mechanics to it. Let's put it that way. A lot of interesting mechanics that make it worthwhile. Now we'll probably move on to the most ridiculous character, and by ridiculous I mean awesome. And yes, there is a permadeath mode now, which is where that Pantheon option is there. I'm not gonna probably do that unless I create another Braggy, because I low-key don't want to like mess things up for my Alyssa, because I worked very hard. I spent tons of hours trying to get these gears, like y'all don't even know. They I literally wanted to cry at the end because it was painful. Now we move on to Elentier, who is arguably my absolute favorite character out of the four. Even though I love dwarves, I like Elentier's abilities, because as a mage, he has a ton of customizable abilities. And like, he is literally the most OP'd character out of all of them. Like, this is the character I beat a Chaos level 5 boss with. Which, to give you a perspective, doing level 5 Chaos difficulty and or tear is essentially suicide if you're under-geared. I managed to, bit by bit, beat the boss with this character. Or more specifically, I'll show you the armor set I beat him with. This is the Defender of Ulthane, I think is how you pronounce that. Now, of course, green armor set. It's technically supposed to be all blue, but it's red. Now, this armor set says casting a magic spell reduces damage taken by all players for a few seconds. Casting a fire spell grants health for all players. And of course, Vortex. Now, I don't know the blade that goes with this armor set, but so I chose this blade. This blade is fun because it deals simultaneous fire and magic damage, and no longer requires points to put into it. The blinding light skill lures enemies instead of repels them. So yeah, it's insane. You got Step Between Worlds, Arcanic Manifestation. Oh, I need to show you the staff here. The Staff of Ice, which, let me show you. See, I like this armor set. It looks cool. Especially because it's got a little pelt on the back. And the staff is huge, but basically it's supposed to be a raven sitting on a crescent moon. But Scepter of Ice. The Breath of Fire skill is improved. It deals magic damage now instead of fire damage, and you don't need points. So let's scroll over here. It's like da-da-da-da-da. Just boom. Nice little sword combo.
Knowledge is power!
Little fire sprites that basically just disintegrate enemies. Nice little warp spell. Nice little first deals fire damage. And of course, every character has an archetype. I keep forgetting to explain the archetypes. So all 4 characters have an archetype, a special ability to them. Braggy's was, you know, the chain axe, which is a locomotion ability. Alyssa's is the dodge roll, as you saw, which that comes in handy. Elentier's is called the Winds of Magic, which basically he can change the position of his last spell, meaning you can move some of his spells around, which can be terrifying. If you're on the wrong side, that is. There's Blinding Light. Like he has a lot of different abilities. Like, of course, you know, if he starts off shooting missiles, then there's the Arcane Hail, which basically you can the final ability, which I love using. You rain fiery hail from the sky, and this is continuous damage. So you can imagine not much really escapes. And anything that has this little orb right here means that it can be moved. It means that it's part of the Winds of Magic archetype. So yeah, we move on. Storm. Prison. And now we move on to the skill that helped me beat a Chaos level 5 boss, which is the Dragon Tamer. The abilities of this armor set are really cool. Don't like the armor set much itself. The color scheme is very off-putting. Although I do like the focusing crystal staff. That is actually pretty cool. And basically it doubles the amount of little sprites that come out when you use the arcane binding ability and whatnot, which basically when you deal a fire spell, it unleashes a magic projectile and vice versa. Okay, Calanders. Oh, Lewis must have left then. Blade of Instability does that as well. So it's like, yeah, and focusing crystal magic damage triggers a magical explosion on burning enemies. So yeah, this is an insane armor set. And then we move on to the Lore Master. The Lore Master is probably one of my other favorites, and probably was the very last set that I had to complete for Elentier, which is very crescent moon shaped. Notice that sword comes back. Gotta keep the sword. I do, I'm serious, I love that sword. Relentless Sentinel, which is the staff that goes with this. Remaining static creates an area on the ground that increases both crit hit chance and damage inflicted, and reduces damage taken by any player inside of it. So it creates an aura, essentially. Now, with the Lore Master set, it says summons a storm of persistent magic lightning and all magic damage is increased. And a step between worlds is improved, deals magic damage and no longer requires skill points to activate. So, yeah, let me show you this. Yeah, Fiery Hail. That, Also, I can use energy now whenever I'm using the dagger. Alright, Flanders. So I can use this endlessly. And I can't use the lightning ability because I'd have to have enemies near me, but basically you have magic lightning that follows you around and takes enemies out as you're fighting them. And then the last one is the Impious One, which is a Phoenix-themed armor set. I haven't really used it very much. But basically, burning enemies take extra fire damage in proportion to their missing health, and blinding light is improved. Soul Fire, which is the sword that goes with this armor. Damage is increased for each nearby burning enemy. Phoenix Herald, one of my favorite staffs for Ellen tier. Grants a permanent fiery aura that damages and burns enemies. Basically, he is surrounded by a circle of fire. Are you seeing why I like this character already? And Blinding Light, which is the heroic version. Bam! Pillar of fire.
I should wait some more.
Along with the little phoenix emblem that goes in between. And I'll show you guys Captain Volan. Like I said, Captain Volan is just mainly a tanky character and a melee character, and arguably the character that I had the toughest time getting all the armor pieces for. Also, the armor set that he is wearing is called the Herald of the Blazing Sun. Kind of looks like a Dark Souls character. Get into his stuff. And actually, that's a repeat shield that he's using, but I don't care. That shield is actually, that was a godsend when I was playing as him. And eventually collecting all these armor sets. Because it gives a holy aura. Now, Herald of the Blazing Sun, attacking an enemy has a chance to lure all enemies within a certain radius and deal damage. The shielded charge skill is improved and no longer requires skill points. Now you got the Sacred Scepter, which healing for all characters is increased and damage taken is reduced. Using a god skill carries all characters suffering from poison. The Meteoric Iron Shield grants a sacred aura that slows nearby enemies and deals regular damage to them. Yeah. So let's go over to shield charge. Dash forward in a straight line with shield raised, damaging enemies, and a portion of the counterattack damage is dealt to it.
In the flames of my justice.
Nice little subtle.
In the flames of my justice.
Yeah. Next we have the Skaven Killer. The Skaven in this universe, in case you're curious, are anthropomorphic humanoid rat people. And they are actually the main antagonists for the Vermintide games. Very annoying. But anyway, I love this armor set just because of the helmet and the wreaths and everything else. Shield of Revenge, followed by Magnus's Gift. Magnus's Gift is probably one of my favorite weapons for Conrad Volan because basically it's essentially each attack inflicts sacred burning on enemies. Basically it's a flaming hammer. It's a flaming hammer. Also, I wish I could... Actually, is there a way to zoom in? Well, hopefully you guys can see, but yeah, flaming hammer. Also, the Skaven Killer helmet lights up, so that's a cool little like dandy effect. And anyway, with the Skaven Killer, it says increases the range of shield smash. Slowed enemies take more damage, and the Pistolier ability is increased. So yeah, there's that. Empire's Herald. Cool little cavalier or knight based outfit. There's that shield again. With Empire's Herald, it says when an enemy takes counterattack damage, all enemies take a percentage of this damage. The tone ability is increased. You have the Grudge Settler, which all damage to taunted enemies is increased. Very useful. Also, same shield. Whoop. We'll get to that in a second. Let out a war cry that taunts enemies, forcing them to attack, reduces damage taken, damage dealt for them, block chance, and blocked damage. Generates enemy for... Yeah, so you, Wisdom of the Apothecary, which basically, that's a great ability, and that came in handy. It basically puts potions on the ground after a while. Very useful ability later on. So now we move on to Sutherland's Ghost, which I really love this armor set, because he looks like a chevalier, at least to me. Like it's just cool looking. The Blade of Vengeance, and then Medic's Pervice, I think is how that's pronounced. The Wisdom of the Apothecary skill is improved and no longer requires skill points to equip. Now, with Sutherland's Ghost, each successful block has a chance to reduce all cooldowns. The Justice of the Empire skill is improved and no longer requires skill points. Basically, you unleash a powerful strike onto the ground. It's basically a ground smash move, but with the Sutherland's Ghost, here is the twist. You summon meteors! Oh, I love this game. Well, I hate that I can't get that last armor piece for Braggy, but that's okay. And unfortunately, if I had all the pieces for Undefeated, I would probably show you like how that skill set works. But basically, all he really does is he just basically does like a taunt that causes enemies to take a crap ton more damage than they normally would. And you've pretty much seen the after effect of like the Avenger, pretty much, you know, just bleed damage is doubled if not tripled. So enemies just basically kind of wilt. Show you Grimar's Herald. See, fire aura. And where is it? Yeah, call to oath. Let out a war cry that sacrifices health to stun and deal fire damage to enemies. Enemies already stunned before the war cry take massive damage. Any players hit are granted a damage bonus for a couple of seconds. So great support skill as well. Oop. Now, Strike of the Anvil is improved for this. Leap forward and strike the ground with your axe, dealing damage to all enemies in the landing area. Cooldown is reduced and damage is increased based on rage level. All players hit will have a damage reduction for a couple of seconds. Okay. Not bad. Where is it? Now, Last Bastion, let's go over to it. Players let out a war cry that grants a health bonus to all players. Damage. Now, this essentially not only does a health bonus, but for the heroic, from what I remember, it basically deals damage, does all this stuff. And yeah, so we wow, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, it is. You have no idea how insane it actually is. Like if I didn't have that little like weirdly glitched thing happen, I probably would enjoy the game a little bit more. But then again, I don't know, maybe it's incentive. And there's all different types of areas. There's you know, just for story purposes, you know, I won't go to some of the areas necessarily, but you see them throughout the relic hunts. And they're not very difficult. Probably do one more map here and then I'll call it a... I was watching that opening up stream and stuff, and I still am going to take time to myself. You know, there still is a lot of my time, you know, just spending time with, you know, friends, family, and a lot of other people, you know, before I end up moving at some point. So I've mainly just been kind of keeping to myself, and that's not a bad thing. And it's not a bad thing, you need to do that for yourself, because if you don't... Oh, challenge marks. Now see, there we go. Oh, I got the chest piece, but it didn't want to give me the hand piece. Okay, you know what? Whatever. Now the game's just trolling me. And I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it at all. It's very disconcerting. So, let's go through all this. Probably another time when I play this. They are trolling me because every time I get that last armor piece to get the last set for Braggy here, the game, because of this stupid glitch, I gotta basically keep running to try to get it, and it never saves it. So I'm like constantly having to get this last gear piece. It's never ending. It's like purgatory. And I finally just gave up. I don't even know why I'm hunting for it now. I guess just because I'm like, let's see if I get it this time. Just because. And then probably laugh and cry at the same time. Oh shoot, this is altar destruction. Ah, get out of my way.
The furies of the mountain!
Oh crap, he didn't drop any, like, legendaries. Whee! The funny part is even after I completely platinumed Diablo, I just found out about how to get gear sets in that. So it's like I've been doing a pet project and just getting all the cool gear sets just to say that I got them. Which people kind of laugh at. They're like, you know, like, really, that's the thing that you're excited about? I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I want people to look at me and be like, wow, this guy really went all out. Yes, I did. I regret nothing. Okay, maybe I regret certain nights, but it was worth it. I don't got much going on at the moment, apparently. I think I gotta go back this way. I think this way leads to a thing. I have no earthly idea where I'm going. Like, I'm just gonna be brutally honest about that. I have no idea where I'm going. That's why I have the map up a lot. Again, where were these Grimoire things when I needed them going for this set? Appreciate it. The game's doing it for clout. The game is against me. The game does not like that I beat it in such a short time span. Well, it probably felt longer than it was, but I'm sure it was short. long is this map? This feels longer than all the other, like, you know, corn maps.
No, I need more time.
Get over here. Okay. Time to watch everybody die. I think I am completely freaking lost. Oh, there it is. Oh, I'm right near the end. Nah. I have no idea who that guy was, but he was trying to run for his life. That man realized his oven was on and he died. Now his house will burn down. I have to admit, it's really satisfying in a weird degree to, like, actually have enemies just completely wither before me. Nope. 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 Okay. It's official, this game does not like me. Because reasons. Okay. Hang on, guys, I'll be right back. Oh, false alarm. I thought somebody was banging on my door or something. Or like I was hearing noises. It sounded like somebody was trying to open the door to my apartment or something. Nope. Turns out the neighbors downstairs were just trying to get their door unstuck. Just trying to get their door unstuck. I'm presuming it's probably the bathroom or one of the bedrooms or maybe the closet to grab like the vacuum cleaner, the little storage closet. Kind of spooked me there for a second. I'm like, what is that loud noise? I'm like, hold on a second. It's like, do I gotta take somebody on a trip to Mount Kick-Ass? Or Mount Whoop-Ass? Something like that. Okay. So I pretty much ran the entirety of this map, got nothing, no surprise. Whee! There is something satisfying about, like, just hook grappling to every area. Nope. Nothing this time. Okay. Never mind. Ooh. That did not work out for the best. Well, I think this is as good a point as any to stop. Been running this for about almost 2.5 hours. Didn't really accomplish as much as I would have liked. Did not get that last gear piece. But I did make some progress. I won't say that I didn't get anything. I made quite a bit of progress. Showed you guys a lot of the game and whatnot. Maybe the next time I play this, I might play as Elentier or Alyssa. That's how some of the mechanics with them work, especially probably Elentier. Elentier, some of y'all would probably just look and be like, oh my god, this guy is ridiculous. Yeah, he is. Might run a Chaos 2 map and just show you guys on like Grand and just show you how ridiculously easy it is to play as this character once you start building them. But I will admit, guys, you know, it's been very interesting. Like I've been telling Lewis and Clanders, I've been essentially taking time for myself, and I am trying to spend time with everybody around me in, I guess you could say, in real life. You know, doing a lot of, like, you know, last events and stuff like that, and just really kind of taking some time for myself, much needed time for myself, and also trying to figure out things I want to do. There's a lot of new things I want to try, a lot of new things I want to see, and I think definitely, you know, I want to pursue things and see if maybe eventually I will get back on track to the things that I used to enjoy. I'm getting there. I'm enjoying to a certain extent, you know, the thrill of games like I used to before everybody started streaming on YouTube and grabbing capture cards, and you know, it is what it is today. But I think it's also the fact that, especially with writing, I need to try to find the adapter battery plug, and I may plug in my laptop and start pulling up old notes. Because I've started at certain things that interest me, and I think especially, you know, I think back to my experience in the frustration of wanting to become a writer. I think it's ultimately made me kind of realize that, you know, I was trying to focus my eggs all in one basket because, let's be honest, I don't like working 9 to 5. I hate the fact that, you know, I'm getting to an age where I'm starting to very quickly, despite still being youthful, you know, wearing down quickly. And, you know, I'm getting to a point where I'm frustrated because, especially with where the job market is at, for me, I have a very limited skill set. I don't feel I should have to put myself in debt with college or university, you know, just to basically get a job that there's no guarantee that I'm going to get anyway. And that's kind of sad. It's sad that people all this money, all this time, and they don't even get the job that they are required for. Or they don't feel like doing it, and then they got to spend all this time paying off debts that they don't need. But that is still my encouragement to you guys. If you want to find your passion, find your study, by all means do so. Nobody should be able to stop you. But just understand that sometimes the things that you really love may not necessarily be the things that you're cut out for. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a full-fledged writer. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a Let's Player / streamer. Maybe I'm not cut out for a lot of things. It's another reason why I've kind of distanced myself from a lot of things lately, and I've kind of gone back to basics, so to speak, is to really figure out, where did I kind of go wrong, essentially? Like, where did I start to kind of lose myself in the shuffle? And I think it was a combination of life, and I think it was also a combination of my own wanton and distorted desires of, well, you know, I want to become bigger than everybody. I want it more than everybody else. So why am I banging my head against the wall trying to outdo everybody? And why am I not getting the results that I want? And ultimately I kind of realized a lot of it was because it was very obvious that I was in it for the fame, the money, the recognition, and I think a lot of places that I submitted to saw that. And they're like, you know, well, this guy's just going to write whatever he wants just because. And I think once I gained that perspective, I think I was like, okay, time to get back to basics. Why do I want to write? What should I write? Is this right for me? Ultimately, I've come to the foregone conclusion that I need to quit trying to play beat the clock with life, because a lot of people do that, and I'm guilty of it. You waste a lot of time and a lot of wasted years, you know, being angry, being bitter about stuff. You overthink everything. You start to plan every little meticulous part of your life, including the people around you, how people should behave, how they should react. And it's very toxic and very unhealthy, and it's a habit that I need to break myself of. Because playing beat the clock, because life isn't about beating the clock. That's kind of something that that I've had to accept and come to terms with. You can't stop time and you can't beat the clock. You know, what's done is done, and what's gone is going to be gone. What you have to, how do you move forward? How do you take that next step forward? And sometimes it's the step in the opposite direction than you'd like. But surprisingly, it'll sometimes lead to new avenues. And I think that's kind of the true understatement of life, is sometimes the things you think won't work out or are bad for you end up actually being the best things for you in retrospect, and you're like, well, why did I worry about that? It's kind of the foregone conclusion that It's kind of the foregone conclusion that I've kind of come to. I refer to it as beating the clock, because essentially what you're doing is you're trying to run a race against time to make up for stuff that, you know, it probably happened for a reason anyway. Like all the years I wasted being angry and bitter and not wanting to find a job and just kind of feeling like life was hopeless, maybe I needed to reach that rock bottom to pick myself back up. You know, this is, you know, granted I have a lot of time on my hands and I overthink everything, but that's the one thought that I don't think that I'm overthinking. I think I'm exactly right on the money with that statement. I think it's just, I think we worry too much in our lives about what the future is going to hold. We worry so much about how much of the past is holding us back that we forget to focus on the present, the here and now, the things that actually do matter, not the things that are going to matter or the things that did matter, but the things that matter now. The moments that we share with people around us. You know, some people are like that. Some people are just fine on their own. And then there's people like me, as I've learned to understand, that I essentially live vicariously through others. Not just with my deeds and actions, but the way that I presume to carry myself. good or bad, I kind of live on through others. Doesn't mean I don't want to be happy for myself, but I've kind of realized that, there's certain things that I can't do, and certain things that I cannot change, but I can change them if I have other people around me. It's an interesting kind of ideology. It's weird, but it's a true statement of life. The best things in life are the things that you can share with others. But it doesn't mean you can't have your own personal achievements. I don't know. I could sit here and wax philosophically, but I'm sure a lot of y'all are tired of hearing me do that, especially a lot lately. I try not to worry as much anymore. I try not to worry about a lot of things. But I don't know, I wanted to do a holiday video, and I thought, I'll stream for a little bit. I don't got much going on today. And plus, it's good for self-esteem. It's good especially because I know a lot of you guys are wondering, well, Steve opened up, but it's is Steve ever going to come back? Is Steve going to just go on a very long hiatus? At this point, I stream whenever I feel like streaming. I think it's not a matter of I worry about other people's opinions anymore. I do me. And I think a lot of people would much rather respect somebody that is true to themselves and just does them and isn't trying to hammer content out, religiously, and at the expense of their health and mental health. It's just people that stream because they want to stream, because they're like, what, today's going to be a fun. Let me see if something I do is going to bring joy to people. Indeed, Lewis, that is also going to be, my closing line on this as well, guys, is I hope a lot of y'all have a happy holiday. I hope y'all have a good new year. And hopefully 2020 for a lot of you guys, it'll be a better year. I won't say that this year has been completely bad for me, but it's gone by quickly, and there's a lot of stuff that, I kind of look at, a lot of missed opportunities. Well, not some missed opportunities, but just things that I kind of look at and I'm like, I probably could have done that differently, but, maybe I wouldn't have got the same results. It's going into the new year, I'm looking at it as there's going to be a lot of stress, a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to deal with that I don't want to deal with. That's a part of being an adult and growing up. But I also look at it as, there's possibly going to be new opportunities and people around me that are going to be very supportive. And, who knows what the future holds. And that's kind of, and then that's something that I want to echo to a lot of people. Don't feel like going into next year that it's going to be completely fearful. There are going to be bad moments. There's a Bruce Lee quote that I saw as I was scrolling through Facebook. And it made sense. And it's kind of the same sentiment that I echo, which is the deep-seated knowledge of when good things happen, cherish them, hold on to them. Keep those happy memories alive. You have to have faith. As bad as that sounds to some people, you got talking about necessarily religious faith. I mean just faith that your life will eventually get better. Because it will. You may not think it'll get better, and there may be certain things that you'll think back on and be like, this wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. It's like, it's just keeping in the rear view mirror that bad things are going to happen, but that, okay, they'll eventually correct themselves, and you just got to take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt. Well, it's not the exact quote, but it's basically the summarization of what he's basically saying. I'm basically just, summarizing and putting my own twist on what Bruce Lee is saying, which is essentially, it's a very common but very true statement. When we have good things happen to us, we need to hold on to it. We need to write it out. We need to cherish it, especially if it's with others. And when bad things happen, just keep in mind that, okay, eventually it'll get better and it'll pass. Maybe not in one day, maybe not in 1 week, but it will eventually pass. But it's also, I think, to add to that, it's the ability to kind of try to see the forest through the trees. And eventually coming to the open area that you can just sit and, rest on your laurels for a little bit, not constantly running for your life like it's dependent on getting out of, those woods, so to speak. Then that's the worst part of our world. The worst part of our world is, and I don't blame technology. Technology is great, but I think it's the people. The people have become so disconnected from wanting to enjoy every part of their life or wanting to record every part of their life. And I mean to a T record their life, that they forget the little things. And the little things are what matter most. Enjoy the time with your family. Enjoy talking with your family. Just share good news with your SO. If somebody's bothering you, don't talk about it on Facebook or Twitter necessarily. But confront that person. Say, hey, you did this thing that I didn't really like, but let's sit down and talk about it. Let's get to the heart of the matter. People have forgotten that. And I wish people would find that again. Because, there's a lot of times where I want to post a lot of things on Facebook that my mother does, that a lot of other people around me do, but I realize that when you confront people about it, there's a better chance of getting it resolved. And it solves nothing. It solves nothing to embarrass people. And that's part of the problem. We've become a culture, a worldly culture, where embarrassing people is, a better way to teach them a lesson than just simply being like, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. You've been doing a lot of really, crappy things lately, or this or that, and it's bad. Airing dirty laundry online has become a bad habit. And I don't think people understand the ramifications of it. And everybody wants to talk about, well, online bullying isn't that bad. Yeah, well, the phrase sticks and stones, may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is not always necessarily true. At least not for some people. I don't mean to ramble on, guys, but I'm just saying for the sake of posterity, be kind to each other, because you don't know if somebody may seem fine on the surface, but deep inside they are absolutely hurting. But I also think that some people they need tough love, and they need a swift kick in the ass in the right direction as well. Discern the difference between somebody that just needs somebody to listen, and then somebody who's like, okay, they're crying, but they're not getting anything done. It's time for tough love. It's the way of the world now. People have become too coddled and sensitive, and need to understand that in order to survive on their own, especially people in my age group, in their late 20s, early 30s or so, it's now time to kind of step up and start taking all the teenagers aside and be like, look, this is where your life could be headed. X, Y, and Z. It's why at work I mentor a lot of the younger kids, and I talk to them. And I tell them life experience, and I give them a different perspective. But I don't badmouth them like a lot of the older adults do. And I get onto the older adults about that too. I'm like, look, just because there's a generational gap doesn't mean that you should imply the same ways that you were talked to. See, every generation needs to be approached differently, but the methodology should be the same, if that makes sense. So that's all I'm saying, is just, differentiate and try to be a social chameleon with people. You might be surprised, how much people may open up to you if you choose to put your foot forward. And then there's other times where, where even though I'm trying to be supportive, I put my foot in my mouth. It depends on your social perspective. But guys, it's the season of giving. It's not too late. A couple of days are still left. Go out, do a couple of good deeds, not because you want to make Santa's, nice list, but do it because you want to make a positive impact, or you want to make a positive change. And you want to start making a change into becoming a better person. All of us really need to start putting that back into perspective. Don't forget that there were people that once went through what you're going through, or are currently going through what you're going through, and you probably might see the signs where they'll eventually end up at that point themselves. And as they used to say, as tape traders used to say back in the day, be kind and rewind. Nobody wants to watch the end of a VHS. They would like to see the full movie without having to rewind it themselves. I know that's a weird euphemism, but you guys probably get the point of what I'm saying. And I'm going to quit talking now because I went way overboard. But at the same time, I was feeling myself. I needed to get this off my chest. And it needs to be said. So, I don't care. I regret nothing. But I want you guys to know that even though, yes, I don't stream as much, all this stuff, I want to try and pay it forward. Because I was in a very dark place. I felt very frustrated with my life, and I finally reached a breaking point, and I think after taking time to myself, I realized a lot of things, and I've started prioritizing a lot of things in my life that I needed to do. So with that being said, guys, I will finally cut this stream off. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me talk and just seeing my character sitting here. So with that being said, guys, I will stop the stream right here. I will maybe plan out what, the next time I stream or whatever I want to, play. I'll figure it out. But it probably won't be for a little while, or if I'm just in another random sporadic mood. But with that being said, guys, I will let y'all go. Y'all have a good one. Happy holidays. Enjoy all of the time with your family, however obnoxious or dysfunctional a lot of them are. Keep Aunt Kathy away from the punch bowl, I'm just saying. Because she may try to put a little bit of whiskey into the punch. She may try to spike it. And might want to keep Uncle Harold from falling asleep in the lazy boy. It was fine at Thanksgiving, but Christmas is kind of inappropriate. But take care, guys. Have a good one. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.